Welcome to the Dark Verse channel. Don't forget to subscribe, like, comment, and share. I never believed a house could think, let alone watch. But that was before we moved into 47 Hollow Pines. It wasn't our choice. We were broke. My mother had lost her job. My stepfather had left. The landlord evicted us without warning. Then, my mom's sister offered us this house. Free, she said. Just cover the electricity and water. The house had been in the family for years, but no one had lived there since 1997. That should have been the first warning. No one stays in a house for free unless there's a reason, but we were desperate. Mom said it was our fresh start, a second chance. She smiled when she said it, but her hands were shaking on the steering wheel. We drove 3 hours into nowhere. Pine trees surrounded everything. No cell signal, no neighbors in sight. When we turned onto Hollow Pines Road, I felt it. The cold, even though it was August. The trees bent toward the road like they were watching. U.S. I saw the mailbox first. It was cracked down the middle. The number 47 was scratched over something else. Mom slowed the car. There it was. The house, old, 3 stories. Windows black like eyes. Paint peeling. Shutters crooked. Porch creaking even with no wind. I felt something pull in my chest. Not excitement, not fear. Something worse. Like the house had been waiting. We parked. Mom got out. The key fit perfectly in the rusty front door. It swung open slowly, like it already knew us. The air smelled like dust and forgotten things. I stepped inside. The floor groaned. Not creaked, groaned. Mom laughed nervously. Just needs cleaning, she said. I didn't answer. The walls were lined with wallpaper that looked like eyes. Not patterns, eyes, everywhere, watching. Mom didn't see it. She walked in like it was just any house. I stood still. The front door closed by itself. Hard. I flinched. Mom didn't even turn around. We explored room by room. The living room had a fireplace filled with ashes. The kitchen had blood-red tiles. The upstairs hallway had 5 doors. One of them was nailed shut. I asked Mom. She said, "Some storage maybe?" But I saw the nail marks, fresh. And on that door, the wallpaper didn't have eyes. It was scratched off, like something inside wanted out. My room was at the end of the hall. It was small, empty, just a mattress on the floor. But the window looked out to the woods, and I saw someone standing there. Not walking, just standing. I blinked. They were gone. I tried to tell Mom. She was unpacking boxes. Told me I was tired. Told me to lie down. So I did, but I didn't sleep, because the ceiling had a crack. A long, jagged crack. And I swear, it moved. That night, I heard footsteps above me, in the attic. But we didn't have an attic. I asked Mom. She laughed. "The house is old," she said. "It creaks." But I knew the difference between wood and footsteps. These were slow, deliberate. They walked from one end of the ceiling to the other, then stopped. Right above me. I couldn't move. I stared at the ceiling until sunrise. The next morning, Mom made eggs. She was humming, happy. I asked her if she slept well. She said she didn't remember going to bed. I frowned. "What do you mean?" She laughed again, said, "I just woke up in my bed, clothes still on." That was the first day she started, forgetting things, small things, then bigger. By the end of the week, she couldn't remember her own birthday, or how many brothers she had. But the house remembered, because I found pictures in the basement of people I'd never seen. But their eyes, they followed me. The pictures were old, black and white. One of them had my mom as a child, standing in front of this house. But she had told me she'd never been here. That night, I heard whispering. From behind the nailed door, it said my name, over and over. Not angry, not loud, just hungry. I put a chair under my doorknob, tried to sleep, but every night the footsteps got closer. And every night, the house grew colder. Mom didn't notice. She said she loved it here. Said the house made her feel safe. She started talking to it, whispering to the walls, smiling at the floor. She called it sweetheart. I asked her who she meant. She said, the house of. Course, she wasn't joking. Then the mirror started lying. My reflection would blink when I didn't, smile when I frowned. I stopped looking at mirrors, then the windows. They began showing things that weren't there. People in the woods, shadows crawling on the grass. One night, I saw myself standing outside, but I was inside. I screamed. The reflection just tilted its head and smiled. The next morning, I begged Mom to leave. She looked at me like I'd gone mad. This house is our home now, she said. But you've changed, I shouted. She just blinked. Changed into what? And I couldn't answer. Because her eyes weren't hers anymore. They were glassy, too wide, too still, like they weren't looking at me, but through me. That night, I made a plan. I packed a bag, waited until 3 a.m. when the footsteps stopped. I tiptoed down the stairs, but the floor screamed, and I heard the walls sigh. The wallpaper began peeling, revealing more eyes, blinking, watching. Whispers came from the ceiling, the walls, the floor. Stay, stay, stay. I ran. I reached for the doorknob. It burned my hand. I screamed. Mom appeared behind me, but she wasn't Mom. Her mouth stretched too wide. Her eyes were bleeding. She said, "You can't leave." Me. And the door slammed shut by itself. Then everything went black. When I woke up, I was in my bed, as if nothing had happened, but the window was gone. Bricked up, no light, no escape, and the walls whispered now, all day, all night. They said things I didn't want to hear. They said the house had chosen me, sighed I'd always belonged here. I screamed, but no one came, because no one lives on Hollow Pines Road, and those who do, don't leave. Asterisk, I stopped eating, but I didn't grow weak. The house fed me something else. Memories that weren't mine. Visions of strangers crying in these rooms, begging the walls to let them out. I saw children scratched into wallpaper, men clawing at the floorboards, women hanging from the ceiling beams, and I was one of them. Not dead, but fading. The more I stayed, the less I remembered. My name began to disappear. My voice cracked when I tried to speak it. Then I saw her, my real mother, inside the nailed door, trapped, skin pale, eyes hollow. She mouthed, "Don't trust her." And that's when I knew. The thing in the kitchen, smiling, cooking, wasn't my mom. She was just wearing her face. The house was using her to keep me calm, keep me obedient. But it wasn't working anymore. I broke a leg from the wooden bed frame, sharpened it. I waited until night, until the thing wearing Mom's skin came to check on me. She opened the door and said, "Time for dinner, sweetheart." I didn't move. I waited. She stepped closer. Her shadow didn't match her body. It had horns. When she reached for me, I stabbed her in the leg. She screamed, not in pain, but in rage. The voice cracked open like glass. It wasn't her voice anymore. It was the house's. "You belong to me." I ran. I didn't care where. Down the stairs, past the fireplace. The ashes rose like black snow. I kicked open the basement door. I remembered the pictures. I tore them off the walls. Underneath, names were carved in wood. Hundreds. Some were crossed out. One name wasn't. Mine. Freshly carved. Still bleeding. I screamed. But my scream echoed like a child's. Like I was no longer 17, but 7. The house was taking my years, replacing me with who I used to be. So I did the only thing I could. I lit a match, held it to the dry wall. The house inhaled. The flames caught fast. It roared, but not from fire. From pain, I ran back upstairs. The wallpaper curled into faces, melting, crying. The house screamed in voices I couldn't count. I reached the front door. This time it opened. Smoke poured behind me. I ran barefoot into the woods, didn't stop, didn't look back. I ran until I saw the road, until I heard tires. A truck stopped. The driver shouted, "You okay, kid?" I collapsed. When I woke up, I was in a hospital. They found burns on my hands, but nothing else. I told them about the house. They said it was gone, burned to the ground. No evidence of anyone else inside, not even my mother. They said maybe she ran away, or maybe there was no one else there. But I know better. She's still in there. Not her body, her soul. The house never let her go. It just moved. Because that's the part they don't tell you. Houses like that don't die. They shift. Wait for the next road, the next desperate family. And when it finds them, it watches. It always watches. Because even now, every time I close my eyes, I see wallpaper, and it blinks.